Nothing like feedback. Hi, this is Robbie Thomas, your Bay Area downsizer. So let's take the case of two individuals, one a young person and another who's an elderly person who goes to the bank. The younger person goes to the ATM machine, withdraws the money, and even before he gets into his car after withdrawing the money, he rolls it. He doesn't even count it. He trusts the process and he puts the money in his pocket and he enters the car. And even before he enters the car, he gets notified stating, please give a feedback because it's a digital feedback form. The elderly person goes to the same bank but enters the bank, goes to the teller, withdraws an amount of money, receives the money, counts the money, puts it in their wallet, and then speaks to the teller. And the teller has a small conversation with them, and the next thing that the teller says is, please give me a feedback as to how I served you today, because that's going to help that person. That person also gets a feedback form via email. But which do you think is the one, which of the two people are going to actually respond and actually fill out that survey or that response form? I think it's the elderly person, because there's a relationship, a sort of relationship built over that short conversation. Now, you may ask, what's the relationship between this story and real estate? Yes, let me come to that. The reason I brought this up is because one of the biggest failures in the entire real estate industry is lack of communication, whether it's the buyer's agent or it's the listing agent. Both sides, both parties, they do not over communicate what they intend. I mean, they mean well, they do their best, but their best is falling short from the eyes or the perception of the buyer or the seller, only because there's a lack of communication. And in terms of when you're trying to list a property and sell your property as a seller, it is crucial that you have a completely different kind of communication than what a buyer would have with their buyer agents, because that's completely diametrically opposite to what you as a seller would want, because the seller wants the highest and the best and the buyer wants the lowest and the best. So they're completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Now, coming back to the sellers, the feedback, which is very important, doesn't really happen. In fact, it's like 2 out of 10 of the listing agents actually call back every single agent who's shown the property. I mean, there's no reason why you cannot call the buyer agent or the showing agent back, because currently, or in the modern times, most of the showings happen through a lockbox, which is trackable. Like, every time the agent goes through opening the lockbox, if it is going through the MLS, the listing agent gets notified as to which agent opened that lockbox. So there is a digital trail as to who opened it. And if the listing agent calls that buyer agent back, most of the time the buyer agent doesn't pick the phone and is too busy or whatever the reason may be. But if they do pick the phone, the usual answer that they give back is, well, the buyer is still looking, but this is not the right house for them, which is like a very general, vague answer. That vague answer does not help the listing side. So if I was representing you as a seller, and we had the house on the market and we had multiple showings, like recently I had one, there was 18 showings. This is apart from the open houses which I did, which is Saturday, Sunday, 2 weeks in a row. I had like 80 something groups of people with their agents coming inside and taking a look at it. The ones who left me the business cards, I was able to directly follow. But the ones who had private showings, which I could track through the MLS, I was able to call back. And like, I could tell you 20% of them picked the phone and they gave me vague answers. One of them actually gave me the real answer, which was based off of my questioning, which is like, I went further by asking, like, what kind of a uh, house is the buyer trying to buy? Did you like the property? Did you not like the property? Are they happy with the bedrooms? Are they okay with the single level of the property? Are they okay with the upgrades of the property? Are you okay with the condition of the roof? And on and on. Some of the other things that I have asked is, like, if they liked, if they wanted a larger kitchen, if they wanted a bigger living room. If they wanted a bigger lot, in this particular case, this was a huge lot. It was a 9,000 plus square feet lot. So I knew, I mean, there was no comparison to that in that area. So I knew that was a big selling point. But that feedback from that one particular buyer's agent, I was able to communicate to the seller, and the seller was happy. And guess what? One of the offers that I got for that particular house was from that particular agent, because they were very educated, and it was not based on the interest, not just the interest of the buyer, but the intent of the buyer. And these two are completely opposite, because anybody can have an interest in a house. Yes, every single person who came to that open house, which I did, was interested in that house, but would they, some of them probably did not like the price of the house, did not like the direction of the house. Buyer demography is different, completely different, and the buyer pool is different in different zip codes, different subdivisions, different streets, and uh, proximity to freeway, proximity to school, proximity to work area. There's so many variables in this thing, and the only way to get that information, intent-based feedback, is by calling every single buyer's agent who showed that property and asking them specific questions. Most of the listing agents in the entire industry, real estate industry, do not do that. Not that I'm aware of. Very few people do it, and they are exceptionally good at it. So that is one thing that you, if you were thinking of selling and listing your house on the market in any condition, does not matter, that feedback is extremely important, because based on the feedback, let's say in a slowing market, the number of days on market are increasing, you can readjust the marketing, readjust the medium of marketing, change the entire copywriting, change the focus of what kind of a buyer pool or the kind of demography you're trying to target, and you can also change the pricing, strategy. Completely different things that you could do, where everybody else in the competition in the marketplace is playing catch up. You're well ahead of the game. So the faster you get the feedback, the more accurate feedback that the listing agent is able to get you, the seller, the faster that you can come up with a strategy to change the strategy to take advantage of this beast called the marketplace, and then sell that by putting into escrow faster than the competition. I hope this helps you. This is Robbie Thomas, your Bay Area downsizer. That's the only kind of agent that you should hire. Have a wonderful day. Bye.